Holy mackerel, there goes that.
Oh,
Go. Leave your belongings. Move. The fire is behind you. I need to assess the situation right now. Hear the sirens, guys? That's where we are at this moment. Fearful events have occurred, forcing the faithful disciples of Jesus to flee Jerusalem in the middle of the exceptional area filled with sacred stones and bustling marketplaces. In Israel, news is circulating quickly. There have been reports of an unearthly light and eerie sound emerging from the sky that frightens even devout believers. Furthermore, a swarm of locusts resembling the ancient Egyptian plagues have taken to the skies. In our exceptional city of Jerusalem, things have been chaotic. People are hurrying to ensure their safety, apprehensive about the potential events that may unfold. The tranquility we once enjoyed has vanished, now replaced by a fear sensation. But why is this stuff taking place? And how will it alter Jerusalem's population's way of life? To get a few responses, let's move to Jerusalem. To unravel the secrets that have engulfed this holy city we're discovering. Join me as we investigate the real story behind this incredible occurrence. Remember to subscribe to our channel, NEXTWORLD, as well, if you want to see our most recent videos. Around the globe, Christians have been enthralled by an absolutely breathtaking scene that is taking place in Jerusalem. Envision an amazing light shining on the dome of the rock, enveloping the historic city in a beautiful glow that seems to have been touched by the divine. Imagine yourself at present, standing at the Western Wall, where the echoes of innumerable centuries' prayers weave a tapestry of faith and history. It is said that something genuinely remarkable happened in this hallowed area. In the spiritually charged metropolis where temporal threads intriguingly intersect, Jesus Christ himself, along with other celestial creatures, are said to have made his presence known. There have been other similar occurrences in Jerusalem's past. A lot of people in Jerusalem think they have seen Jesus and his celestial company come down to the planet to bless the faithful. In addition to the latest reports of celestial light sightings in Jerusalem, central Israel has been rocked by another mysterious development. A cacophony of booming, loud noises has left people alarmed and bewildered. The fact that these noises don't seem to be anything that most people have heard previously only serves to obscure them further. Some claim they sound like ominous moans, or even metallic instruments banging together. Reports of weak sounds mixed in with the booms have even been made. Some have begun to question whether these sounds have any significant meaning as a result. Could they be, as some believe, an omen of impending doom, similar to how trumpets are mentioned in the Bible to announce the end of the world? However, Israel has ongoing difficulties. During the scorching summer, hordes of locusts are swarming the country, particularly in the south where the warmth allows them to reproduce more quickly. It's difficult to deal with these ravenous bugs. Anyone aware of the impending depletion of the Euphrates and Tigris rivers is not surprised by the locust invasion. This causes issues for neighboring nations like Syria and Iraq, escalating water-related tensions and possibly even sparking conflicts that could have an indirect impact on Israel's security. In addition, a lack of water might drive a large number of people from their homes and create a major refugee crisis. Israel may need to provide aid or assistance to refugees in order to address these significant issues, however, which would complicate the political situation. We want to tell you something extremely significant before we go exploring. Israel is considered to be a historical treasure trove filled with tales similar to medieval heroes. This is where folklore, spirituality, and thousands of years' worth of stories come together. This exceptional location has witnessed every significant event in human history, from biblical prophecies to massive clashes between civilizations and beyond. It's a location where the atmosphere is mysterious, where old buildings conceal long-forgotten mysteries, and where each stone has a story from past centuries. Israel is portrayed as a location where heavenly things occur in the breathtaking tales of the Red Sea splitting and prophets performing wonder. The ancient enigma of Israel demonstrates that paranormal activity is not limited to the past, but continues to occur in the present, where mystical and spiritual elements coexist with our contemporary world. Just like what was foretold by the ancient prophet Isaiah as occurring on the final day. He spoke of God punishing people with fire, thunder, earthquakes, and storms. He mentioned that people should seek refuge in caves and rocks during the day of the Lord when Christ returns to judge countries due to God's terrifying might. Do these signals stop there, though? Remember that Jerusalem has lately been illuminated by lights that shine exceptional elegance in the sky. Bizarre noises permeate the atmosphere along with these vivid visuals, moving the hearts of all who listen to them. However, there's more going on above Jerusalem. Meanwhile, the skies are filled with illumination and noises. There is another incredible sight beneath. A massive swarm of locusts that are traveling across the land in a manner reminiscent of old Bible stories, leaving everyone in a state of question and amazement. There hasn't been a major incident like the one that occurred in Jerusalem recently in 221 years. Heaven is breaking with loud blasts from God's trumpets. Angels are playing these piercing notes that warn us that the final day is near. People all over the globe are staring up at the heavens over Jerusalem, seeing angels from God in this ancient city that is the birthplace of faith. Unusual cloud formations have sparked a lot of discussion and conjecture. Certain individuals perceive these celestial vistas as divine interventions, akin to the remarkable omens and marvels recorded in sacred texts. Many Christians take hope from these sky displays, believing that Jesus will return shortly. We also recall other significant historical events, such as the star that guided the wise men to the birth of Jesus, or the fire that led the Israelites. These were not merely coincidental events, but rather a reminder that God is the author of the greatest tales. Be prepared, followers of Jesus, for the globe is about to undergo harsh times filled with blood and fire. The world-ending prophecies are beginning to come true. Nations will wage war against one another, and there will be natural disasters, starvation, illnesses, and paranormal sky activity. In the Bible, Luke writes about this in chapter 21, 7-1. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, three of the Bible's writers, discuss what Jesus mentioned. According to Matthew, during their time together on the Mount of Olives, Jesus shared these matters with his followers. Matthew 24:3. Two queries were posed to him. When will this happen, and what will show us that you are coming back and that the world is ending? Jesus answered their queries in detail. He discussed two major occurrences: the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD and the events that would transpire before his return. A few of these are currently taking place. According to the author of this document, the second portion of their query, what will show us that you are coming back and that the world is ending? Matthew 24:3, focuses mainly on future events. We're going to discuss a highly contentious topic: the reconstruction of the Third Temple. We need to consider our required actions in light of all these warnings about earthquakes, unexplained objects in the heavens, and the final days of the entire planet. The Bible forewarns us that these momentous occasions will come abruptly and without notice. God advises us not to become overly consumed by our daily concerns, to ensure we remain vigilant for Jesus' return. Thus, we must constantly pray and be vigilant in the hopes that we will be prepared for Jesus' return. As I previously stated, there are differing views regarding the timing of occurrences leading up to the day of the Lord and Christ's second coming. Some believe that the destruction of Jerusalem in the year 70 AD marked the fulfillment of prophecies found in the book of Revelation. This is known as the preterist viewpoint. Like me, some believe that these incidents will still occur in the future. We identify as futurists. The pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation, post-tribulation, and pre-wrath raptures are the four distinct time theories held by futurists. The Bible refers to a 7-year era known as the 70th week of Daniel, Daniel 9:27, as we have already discussed. According to the pre-tribulation view, the rapture takes place prior to the commencement of this 7-year period. Mid-tribulation believers are those who hold that the rapture occurs in the midst of the 7-year period, during which the abomination of desolation is supposed to occur. And post-tribulation believers are those who believe the 7-year period ends with the rapture. The fourth doctrine, known as the pre-wrath perspective, holds that the rapture occurs during the Great Tribulation, a period of extreme hardship that Jesus foretold, sometime in the latter half of the 7-year period. Furthermore, Jesus exemplifies for us what a meaningful existence looks like. Across the annals of time, people of faith have experienced healing, miracles, love, and hope because of his presence. Believers in Jesus believe he is God himself, who turned human to establish a connection between people and God, which is one of the primary reasons Jesus is so significant to them. Such conviction arises from the New Testament, where Jesus is referred to as the Messiah, the Savior, and the Word made flesh. It is believed that God personally demonstrated his love and mercy to humanity when Jesus came to earth. Furthermore, Jesus' teachings and example of living make him significant. Christians believe that Jesus' life serves as an excellent model for them on how to have a moral and fulfilling life. His teachings, like the Sermon on the Mount, emphasize treating God and other people with kindness, forgiveness, humility, and love. Jesus guides Christians in understanding what is right. Sunday morning church attendance in Gaza demonstrates the importance of Jerusalem to Palestinian Christians, as well as Muslims. Jesus motivates them to embrace his guidelines and develop spiritually. Jesus is well known for performing miracles and curing people. The Bible is replete with accounts of Jesus healing the sick, opening the eyes of the blind, and even raising the dead. These healing miracles demonstrate Jesus' ability to heal and conquer illness. Christians interpret Jesus' arrival on earth as evidence of God's support and care for them. For believers, Jesus' healing ministry is extremely significant. In addition to curing physical ailments, he also improved people's morale, relationships, and sensations. Jesus preached about internal change, extended forgiveness to those who erred, and restored dignity to those who suffered abuse. Christians believe that the healing work of Jesus demonstrates God's compassion and desire to bring about universal peace. Moreover, Jesus' miracles demonstrate that he possesses God's power and is not simply a normal guy. Not only are they amazing events, but they also symbolize the arrival of God's reign on earth and his absolute authority over all that exists. It is hardly surprising that Jerusalem has a significant part in these dire predictions given its turbulent past. The Bible frequently portrays Jerusalem, the center of Israel, as a major figure that is perpetually in difficulty. Jerusalem has rarely experienced protracted periods of calm in its long history, despite having robust defenses and a favorable location due to its importance and international attention. Many considered Jerusalem as a prize, which led to many arguments. A major conflict over Jerusalem might lead to catastrophic consequences. There might not be sufficient food in the city because the war disrupts trade and farming. When one considers the causes of famines, it is similar to the tale of Pharaoh, the monarch of ancient Egypt, who seized power when there was either an abundance or a scarcity of food. Because Joseph was wise and heeded God's advice, God warned Joseph and Pharaoh that there would be 7 years of bountiful crops, followed by 7 years of terrible crops. He prepared food in advance to help his family and Israel through difficult times. The people offered Pharaoh everything they owned, including themselves, even when they ran out of nourishment in order to help him survive. With great gratitude, they said to Pharaoh and Joseph, "You saved our lives. We will be Pharaoh's servants." Genesis 47:25. These days, leaders of the World Economic Forum, such as CLA Schwab, advocate for concepts like the Great Reset, which would abolish private property for the benefit of all. This brings to mind how reliant the Egyptians were on Pharaoh. Some people labor secretly to create conditions that force people to follow a large group and do what they desire, such as not having sufficient nourishment or energy. Despite everything that is happening, God remains in control. Like he did when he freed Israel from slavery under a great leader, he has a strategy to protect his people and assist them in winning. According to Revelation 6:5-8, a great number of people will perish from disease and starvation when Jesus is about to return. Luke also discusses other frightening illnesses and unexplained occurrences in the skies. Luke 21:11. Although it is impossible to know for sure, it is possible that the illnesses that are occurring now are a sign from God informing us that life on earth is not permanent. and that we should prepare for Jesus' return. Pestilence refers to a highly contagious disease that may kill large numbers of people. More signs that need us to wake up and pay attention are discussed in Matthew, such as the discomfort a woman experiences before having a baby. There will be conflicts between nations, starvation, and earthquakes in various locations. Hard times are only getting started, Matthew 24:7-8. With more than 200 messianic congregations in Israel, these prophecies are being realized. Jesus promised to return once the Jewish people accepted him. It's electrifying to observe a growing curiosity about the Messiah among Israelis. If these signs do not convince people to believe in Jesus' return, we should not overlook the resounding trumpet blasts that echo in our minds from the book of Revelation, captivating and bewildering scholars and believers alike. The trumpet is more than just a musical instrument. It represents significant shifts brought about by God in the world. God gave 7 angels each trumpet, according to Revelation 8:2. This is the point at which a series of significant events begin to occur because God so desires. The first 4 trumpets foretell major issues such as natural calamities and the collapse of mighty countries, demonstrating the limitations of human power. They serve as a reminder that God, not us, is in command. Every trumpet blast seems to test everything we've created, destroying entire regions, goodness water supplies, and even darkening the sky. The final 3 trumpets, referred to as the woes, are more terrifying. They're not solely focused on terrible events. They serve to awaken people to their way of life and the judgment they face from God. The 5th trumpet unleashes creatures resembling locusts that injure those who are not under God's protection, opening a terrifying realm known as the abyss. This is about hurting people's souls as much as their bodies, and it's about making people realize they have to change their way of life. The 6th trumpet, which shows how terrible things may get if we continue to fight and be rude to each other, summons a large army that murders a lot of people. The lesson is not to give up hope in the midst of all this devastation, but rather to give yourself one more chance to make a change before the final trumpet blows. Christians become more and more thrilled as the story progresses toward the 7th and last trumpet. This final explosion is the greatest time in history, not merely a significant occurrence. When God establishes his eternal kingdom and assumes ultimate authority, the trumpets in Revelation symbolize more than simply powerful events occurring. They also represent the great journey of belief that believers remain on. Every trumpet sound transforms them into better persons who live differently. Believers are aware that this life is temporary and that something greater is on the horizon. These trumpets serve as a reminder of God's promise to recreate everything, not just old tales. When considering the significance of the trumpets in the Bible, we should remember that we are meant to be active participants in the narrative, rather than passive observers. It causes us to reflect on our life, actions, and relationship with God, reminding us to live according to God's will and to prepare for Jesus' return. The trumpet sign invites us to view the final days of the globe as a fresh start, an opportunity to see things improve under Jesus' rule, rather than as the termination of humanity. A chilling link connecting these celestial noises to the menacing blasts of the 6 trumpets mentioned in the book of Revelation appears when we investigate the enigmatic echoes heard all across the globe, from the ancient city of Jerusalem to the furthest reaches of each continent. The 6th trumpet, which announces both chaos and the coming of an angel, is the one that draws our attention out of all of them. It is a momentous occasion that has reverberated throughout the annals of religion and prophecy. The 6th trumpet mentioned in Revelation 9:13-21 denotes a significant turning point in the end times narrative. It proclaims the arrival of a massive army from the Euphrates River that is expected to wipe out a third of humanity. This is a powerful reminder of how horrible things can go as a result of the decisions people make, not just a symbol. It's fascinating that an angel has appeared at this crucial time to demonstrate how God is intervening and illustrating the connections between sky and ground. The significance of these trumpet tones, particularly the 6th one, is in their warning of impending major shifts that force us to look beyond our daily concerns and toward the larger, more significant aspects of life. They force us to consider crucial issues, such as whether we really heed the guidance found in our sacred texts. Are we prepared to face the consequences of our decisions? When these profound questions are combined with these enigmatic noises, they transcend beyond being simply odd and cause us to reflect carefully on the harmony between right and wrong, as well as between God's will and our own. The sound of the sixth trumpet reminds us that there are significant things going on that we might not be able to perceive and inspires us to fight for what is morally right. It serves as a helpful reminder to consider how we fit within a larger narrative. These enigmatic noises and the prophecy-filled trumpet blast serve as a link between the old and the new, the real and the spiritual. It demonstrates to us that the great ideas discussed in the book of Revelation, such as judgment, redemption, and the struggle between good and evil, are not merely timeless tales or theoretical ideas. Rather, they are an integral part of our lives currently, urging us to listen with both our ears and our hearts. Religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are united by the concept that the final judgment will take place in Jerusalem. All religions agree that Jerusalem will be the site of the final days of the globe, even if everyone has their own theories about what will occur at that time. Jerusalem serves as a constant reminder that God is present with us in the world until that time. Jesus told those who followed him on the Wednesday before he was executed what was going to happen to Jerusalem and how he would return in splendor. He gave lessons in the temple throughout the day. Then at dusk, he led his disciples to the Mount of Olives. One day not a stone will be left on top of another. Everything will be torn down, declared Jesus, gazing upon the grand and beautiful temple that had been under construction for 46 years. Luke 21-56. Jesus wished for us to persevere through difficult times and never give up. Death is not the end for those who follow him. Rather, it is the beginning of something even greater. His remarks provide consolation to people who are struggling and indicate that his second coming is drawing near. Matthew 24:31. Acts 8:1 describes how a severe persecution of the Jerusalem church caused its members to be dispersed across Judea and Samaria. However, believers discover the hope of deliverance in Matthew 22, which is sometimes seen as the rapture. The Greek phrase translated as saved means to be freed from danger into safety, and it is a promise of divine rescue should the last judgment fall against Jerusalem. Jesus told us to leave the city right away in Matthew 24:11-28. For people dispersed over the world, multiple options become apparent. The first option is to prepare for a confrontation with the forces of darkness. A few people believe that we should set up resistance camps so that we can fight the Antichrist and his followers. But let's be serious ourselves. Those locations are probably going to be the enemy's #1 target. It's a bit of a mixed bag since back in the day, Jesus did advise his disciples to take up arms in the past, but he also preached turning the other cheek. Perhaps we ought to take Stephen's example and, even in the face of persecution, respond to hate with love. It all comes down to calling the hotline of the Holy Spirit for direction. The second option is to dress like a farmer and flee the concrete jungle, establishing a camp in the suburbs and subsisting on the soil. It sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Wait, though. Picture everybody and their dog having the exact same brilliant idea at the same time, attempting to blend in with high-tech surveillance and drones hovering overhead. Not quite a stroll in the park. The third option is to trust the man upstairs. Yes, that is the traditional wait on the Lord gesture. Put your faith in divine guidance, pray it out, and have faith that the big guy has your back. Recall that God's power is most evident during difficult times, so perhaps now is the best moment to begin establishing robust Christian communities. When conditions are bad, we'll need all the help we can get. Let us continue forward, not afraid, but filled with hope, anticipating the day when we will see our Lord in the heavens and be transformed beyond recognition by his love. In the interim, let us live a life that embodies the magnificence of that day, inspiring hope and demonstrating the possibility of better things to come. There are tales in the accounts of people who have gone through difficult times that can encourage, heal, and inspire us to do better. These are the tales of common people who have experienced the incredible grace of God, individuals and communities that have overcome significant adversity and emerged with a better sense of faith. Let us adhere to the faith that has benefited people for many centuries, and let it serve as a beacon for us to be even more committed and helpful to one another. As we listen to these narratives, let's craft our own tales of courage and hope. Let's weave a lovely tale that is vibrant with God's grace and full of faith. These tales ought to serve as a reminder that we may triumph with Christ in every trying circumstance, and that our darkest moments can also serve as our greatest testimonies of faith. Thus, let us continue forward, encouraged by our forebears, fortified by their experiences, and reassured by the knowledge that the same God who has provided for them will also provide for us in this global community of believers, transcending both time and space. We find not just tales, but also a dynamic, interconnected faith family, kept together by God's unchanging promises. It is more important than ever to live a life rooted in faith and governed by biblical principles in a world full of uncertainties and hardships. May this call strike a deep chord in our hearts as we traverse the intricacies of our day, encouraging us to live not just for the here and now, but also for eternity. As we prepare ourselves for the promised salvation that awaits those who follow the path of the divine, let's explore the tremendous and transformative impact of living authentically at this point. Imagine living a life in which each choice you make and each action you do is informed by knowledge drawn from the Bible. Imagine a society in which acts of kindness, fairness, and love are regular occurrences rather than merely lofty concepts. This isn't some far-off ideal. Rather, it's the genuine thing that the gospel promises and that Christ exemplifies. By living up to these timeless ideals, we brighten the shadows and give hope to the globe in need. We are encouraged by Ephesians 5:8-10, which states, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, and find out what pleases the Lord." As such, let us, as children of light, seek to know what God is pleased with, not by rote memorization, but rather by sincere, passionate devotion that is demonstrated by deeds of justice, words of truth, and kindness. Think about how practicing the Beatitudes, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God," can have a transforming effect. Imagine the potential of bringing about peace, of bridging gaps, and planting the seeds of reconciliation in a world riven by violence. Every act of peace gets us one step closer to the heavenly kingdom and fulfills our purpose as Christ's disciples. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the remarkable events unfolding in Jerusalem. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, NEXTWORLD. Your support helps us continue to bring you important updates and insights on the events shaping our world and faith. Stay tuned for more content that explores the extraordinary and the spiritual. Thank you, and may you find peace and strength in your journey.